I want to speak about the specifics of whole life practice, the ingredients that make up a whole life practice. Certainly, we are aware of the importance of awakening, the importance of a gradual path that gives us a container of integrity and generosity, the ability to focus the mind and learn how to bring balance to the things that are arising. And gradually, with the gradual path, we can see that there's more ease, more skill, less suffering. But we also know in awakening that there's an imminent path, that there's the timeless, ever-present truths which are available all the time. And really, it's just a question of dropping into having access to that, as to being able to know this luminous, timeless, pervasive truth. And this is happening simultaneously with the gradual path. It's happening even though we can be upset or disturbed. We can be experiencing a lot of confusion. This imminent path of what is timeless and pervasive is available to us at all times. So in addition to awakening, there's also the prospect of maturing. And maturing really has the components of being able to meet our needs as one stage of development, and then eventually learning how to get our needs met without it being at somebody else's expense. And then the third is to learn how to understand and advocate for diverse people's needs. And so in these three levels, we move through a different capacity. And some of the different needs that we can have are physical needs, like for food or for shelter or for water, for warmth. We can have the need for safety, to have a sense that we are not going to be hurt or harmed. We can have the need for power, and that can show up as the need for autonomy, and can often show up in the way in which we can align with other people's power in order to maximize our own position. Then there's all kinds of needs around belonging, around being part of a group, around how groups function, the rules that they keep, and whether there's order or there's incongruity with the way that they frame who they are. There are needs for a rational framework and understanding of things, and there's needs for inclusivity, to having people who don't just look like me or think like me or love like me or have health issues like me or gender like me, where they too have a right to have access to things that are important, that are basic, that are about which are life-serving. And then there's the need for wholeness, the need to have a sense of being part of a bigger picture, to have a sense of the way in which the whole mind and body is linked up, to have a sense where the various different parts of one's own psyche are communicating with each other. And so in these different needs, we can move through different stages of maturity. And one of the things that happens is that the path of maturation is not an automatically accelerated path simply by engaging in the path of awakening. They're actually two distinct paths. And they're distinct because it's possible to have a very deep experience of insight at any one of these levels of maturity. So we can be preoccupied with safety or preoccupied with power and still touch deeply into the timeless, luminous nature of the mind. However, one of the characteristics of the path of maturity is that how we experience any awakened mind state will be interpreted according to the level that we're at. So the path of maturity gives us the ability to, again, meet our own needs, meet our needs without it being at somebody else's expense. And eventually, when we get sufficiently mature, we're able to understand and advocate for a diverse people's needs. And we can notice the impact of what happens when we are in groups where there are very wise teachers who have a very clear understanding of a gradual path and can speak eloquently as if they know intimately the imminent path of what is pervasive and luminous and ever present. And yet they can have views and values that are racist or homophobic or sexist, or they can be rigid around rules or have a sense that it isn't really important if everybody gets their needs met. And so there can be a dichotomy between the depth of an individual's understanding and their maturity and their ability to navigate their own needs without it being at somebody else's expense, or to be able to understand and advocate for diverse people's needs. So we have these different realms. There's awakening and there's maturity. Now, one of the things that also can happen for many of us is that there is a need for healing. There's a need to learn how to care for oneself, how to take care with related to diet and exercise that maximizes our physical health and well-being. There are many, many, many people in this world right now who are working very diligently and beautifully to stay clean and sober. And so in the area of healing, when we've got any kind of addiction, either to substances or to behaviors that has us powerless in the face of certain kinds of things or activities, then this is an area that is inviting healing. And certainly there's been much more understanding about the nature of trauma and the physiological response that gets set up in our bodies and the way in which that also shapes the way that we see and experience the world. And in addition to trauma, which are experiences that we perceive as life-threatening, even if they in fact are not, there are also the ways in which the attachment issues that were set up, the bonding that we had with our primary caretakers, influences also the way we experience ourselves and experience the world. And then there's areas of mental health where beyond the normal range of hindrances, we can find ourselves experiencing anxiety or depression or a sense of hopelessness, or that requires a particular kind of skill and intervention to help bring balance. So in these areas of healing and maturation and awakening, we can see, or at least I have been able to see, the way that they are part of bringing about an understanding into many different aspects of our own body, heart, and mind. And then when we take this, and then we learn about how to be present for our own experience and learn how to be present with another person, how to listen skillfully, how to witness and observe and offer feedback, then we open up the whole range of collaborative processing. And collaborative processing is a way in which communities can support each other in the path of awakening and also in the path of maturation, and bring tools and support and friendship in the path of healing. But when we are looking at our world and the many, many, many different global issues that we're facing, we can also see that engagement is the ability to take our practice into direct action so that we're showing up in a way that makes a positive impact in the world around us. And so together, whole life practice spans each of these different areas: healing, maturation, awakening, and engagement. And in this way, there's really no part of our life that's left out of the picture. It is inclusive of every part of our life.